Remember from my Oki entry the demons he lost against? Well, here they are. Lechku and Nechku are the twin deities of Kamui, who were turned evil and sent a blizzard throughout Kamui, threatening its very existence. They were sealed away by a great Owina warrior long ago, but were reawakened by the dark power that rose out of Uroki's corpse. These demons are mechanical owls who wear monocles and hold canes. Wait. Mechanical owls who wear monocles and canes? Victorian-style owls. Upon reaching the top of the Walku shrine, you confront the silver demon, Lechku. Materializing out of thin air, Amaterasu's past incarnation, Shiranui, appears to assist you in your fight. Lechku starts attacking you, but with Shiranui by your side, Lechku is easily overpowered. Shiranui's rush techniques are amazingly devastating and far superior to yours. As the fight ends and Oki makes his appearance, Oki and Ami team up to take on the twin demons. After tracking them down, the demons make their grand appearance, and while this unfolds, Issun and Oki trade some boasts to rile themselves up, and then you challenge the demons. The demons are able to put up more of a fight for two reasons. Once, there are two of them now and are able to tag team you. Second, Shiranui can't help you now, so you have to deal the majority of damage yourself. Oki is a great helper, but while the demons are in the air, he can't do much damage to them. After stunning the demons, Oki will create a bow and instruct you to shoot him at the owls. While he is on and attacking them, you can knock them down with a brush and then attack them. The owls have several attacks, like throwing fireballs, using swords, and charging at you. Once beaten, the owls will collide and explode. As they die, they burst into a huge wave of flowers and free Kamui of its icy prison. Well, here we come to the third last boss of Okami. Now, drum roll! Oh, come on, is it too much to ask for a drum roll? Thanks, for God's sake. The number 6 spot goes to... Okay, you can stop now. Thank you. Now, Demon Lord Ninetales. Not only is this fight awesome, there is tons of cinematic and symbolic value here. Ninetales in this game is entirely based off the legend of Tamamo no Mai, where a kitsune possesses a beautiful girl, Rao, to get close to the Emperor and poisons him with the help of blight. While most kitsune enter through the fingertips, Ninetales entered Rao through
Please! Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
While possessing Rao, she tricked you into giving her the fox rods and murdered Queen Himiko. When you reach the top of Oni Island, the atmosphere and symbolic nature of the cutscene prior to this fight is just amazing. As the scene begins, the dark clouds, torches, and magma flowing give the idea that something big is coming. As Ami hurls to the sky, the clouds part and reveal the moon, which is a red nine-tailed pattern appears on the moon, a yin-yang mirror of the sun which have Ami symbol on it. As this happens, a constellation appears, the sign of a brush god, yet the constellation at a glance reveals a nine-tailed fox. When you complete the constellation, the ominous tune that plays lets you know this thing is far from godly. As Ninetales appears, the area becomes the same area as when you meet a god, showing Ninetales' supposed godhood. As the conversation develops, she talks of how the Emperor of Darkness gave her this role, and how she is stronger than her false gods. And then the fight begins. Ninetales is a tough competitor. She is lightning fast, wielding a glaive, which is a mockery of your weapon, and using brush techniques, which are also mockery of your powers. As she raises her blade to slice you, this is your chance to damage her. Use Thunderstorm to separate the tails to reveal her true form. At this point, the individual heads are vulnerable to your attacks. Strangely, I found the individual heads more annoying than their combined form. Once all the tails except one have been defeated, her illusions are destroyed and her true form is revealed, a one-eyed old fox. As a last attempt, Ninetales pulls out all the stops to try and lay the smackdown on you. Upon her defeat, Oni Island explodes into a flurry of blossoms. Oh wait, I knew I was forgetting something.
What makes it really awesome, but not as awesome as Charmander, because Charmander having a fire in their tails too. Biscuit flower time.
That's better. Top 5. Now it's time for the good stuff. Let's kick off the top 5 with the main villain of Okami-den, Kuro. While Kuro has a pretty bland appearance, his backstory and actions are what makes him great. Upon rescuing Kagu and going through the ruins, Kuro makes his grand appearance and makes the stereotypical boast of how he's going to conquer the world.
Using the powers of darkness!
That's just ridiculous.
That's what I said!
When you reach the Sage Shrine, you learn that Kuro will reach his full potential when he possesses a vessel of light. If the yin and yang are combined in one being, he will gain the ultimate power. But before he can possess a vessel of light, he must bathe in the blood of Orochi. After going back in time and stopping him once, Kuro makes another attempt at reaching Orochi's blood, but this time you fail and he reaches Orochi's blood. Your partner Kuro, as a last-ditch effort, goes after Kuro to put a stop to him. As you return to Kamiki Village, Shiranui is on his deathbed. As the people of Kamiki Village are watching these events unfold, Kuro appears to unleash his new powers onto the world, and it heads straight towards Kamiki Village. With his last ounce of strength, Shiranui leaps at the attack and takes the blow, saving everyone, but dying in the process. Chibi and Shiranui's partner, Ishaku, then team up to take on Kuro at the Moon Cave. Upon arrival at the cave, Kuro reveals himself in his new body, your first partner, Kuni. On top of that, Kuro has sided with Kuro. It is at this point where Kuro reveals his backstory. When the Emperor of Everlasting Darkness was destroyed, his essence was broken into 5 pieces, with Kuro being the strongest part. In order for him to regain that power, he would have to recollect his other pieces, but each piece had its own will and chose their own vessels. Kuro took control of Kuni. Even from the first meeting with him, he was under his control. As it turned out, Chibi was working for Kuro all along. Chibi, unbeknownst to anyone, even himself, was killing the vessels Kuro's other pieces were in and slowly giving him back his power. When you finally confront Kuro, Chibi, in an attempt to save his friend, allows Kuro to mercilessly beat him down until he is near death. As Kuro prepares to deal the final blow, Kuni manages to break free of Kuro's mind control. Kuro, drastically weakened, finally engages you properly. This fight is really not that impressive. It's just a slashing fest, with occasionally stopping to repel his hands. Upon this defeat, you are thrown to a new area of the Dark Realm, with nothing other than a giant mirror. As Chibi stares into the mirror, his reflection is enveloped in a dark aura and is transferred into Dark Chibi Terasu. He proceeds to leap out the mirror, and as he does this, Kuro, who has repossessed Kuni, lands on his back to combat you. As this fight begins, it is immediately a one-sided battle, with Kuro clearly having the upper hand. In the space of you dealing a few hits, Kuro will have taken probably 2 solo units. Dark Chibi is very difficult, being able to utilize the Celestial Brush and the Providence Crystals, including the complete opposite of your Sunrise Brush skill called Sunset. Looking at this fight, I've realized this fight gives a very good life lesson. Evil is in all of us and usually ends up being a more formidable force, but through persistence, good will always triumph. Okami and Okami-den have a style to it where, after a boss fight, which could very well be the final boss, the game turns out to be only half over. Okami had both Orochi and Ninetales, and Okami-den has this guy, King Fury. This guy is a member of the Moon Tribe who was a senator in Cyan City until he was overthrown and murdered. Filled with anger and hate, he vowed revenge and was reincarnated as King Fury. King Fury has a lot of similarity to Ninetales. They both terrorize Cyan City, they both use a Miko in their plans, they both have electric-themed dungeons, and they both wear masks. After spreading a plague through Cyan City, he kidnapped Kagu and headed towards the ruins. This is a long part of the game, involving going through essentially 2 dungeons and taking several detours. Upon reaching the end of the ruins, you meet Jin, who was kidnapped by demons and was repairing this machine. Kuro realizes what it is and attempts to smash the machine. King Fury, being the badass he is, stomps Kuro and proceeds to activate the machine. As it is revealed, King Fury was going to reawaken a great lunar giant, Daidara Bocchi, built for the Moon Tribe to protect the humans and use it to kill them all. As you reach Bocce's chamber, you start a long, arduous climb up the massive robot, with King Fury hugging your butt and throwing bolt after bolt of lightning at you. When you finally reach the control panel at the top of Bocce, Kuro tries to deactivate the robot, but King Fury isn't having any of that. Upon hitting Kuro, King Fury has a powerful monologue about why we humans should be destroyed. And the scariest thing? Everything he says is true. While demons kill us and be horrible to humans, they don't do anything near that to each other. Kuro's monologue to follow this is also true, how although we have a lot of flaws, we all have good qualities. King Fury then enters a huge anger pitch and the fight begins. The fight is pretty damn hectic. Well, you are fighting the leader of basically an entire army while trying to stop a giant apocalyptic robot from destroying all of Nippon. As the fight progresses, King Fury begins to charge for an ultimate attack. Trust me, you do not want to get by this. Luckily, Kuro has the power to exorcise him. As he takes more damage, he gets more powers such as throwing prayer slips and using double team. Upon his defeat, you manage to exorcise him fully and reveal his true good-hearted self. As Kuro reveals his pendant, Sugawara is glad that he could see one of his brothers before passing into the great beyond. After some great philosophy about how Kuro will have friends by the end of his journey, and that you can always depend on your friends, Sugawara passes into the great beyond. My second favorite boss in Okami. But what could possibly beat him? Well, time for my favorite boss in Okami. Kuro, when I first met him, I really didn't like him. I just thought he was some annoying punk with his head so up his ass he could see out his mouth. But like a lot of characters, he grew on me. As the game progressed, I realized he has a good sense of humor, has a high set of values, and has quite a lot of character development. You may wonder, why the hell am I talking about Kuro in such detail? Oh, why the hell do you think? As I mentioned previously, when Kuro came to full power, Kuro sided with Kuro and became his right-hand man. In the scene where Kuro is revealed, Kuro is one that does all the talking and all the explaining, and when Chibi attempts to get help from his partners, Kuro is the one that stops him. The thing I find pitiful, Kuro, while joining Kuro, rejects you as his friend and partner. Upon meeting him in the Dark Realm, he is hell-bent on fighting you and your whole team. Of course, he gets bored of talking and draws his true weapon. Throughout the whole time he was fighting enemies with music notes. But once he challenges you, he reveals that he has a double flute saber.
Are you fucking kidding me?
This fight is somewhat very emotional. Chibi is very reluctant to fight his past partner, and I also think that Kuro feels some form of reluctance to fight Chibi. This isn't something Chibi should enjoy doing. Kuro is a much better fighter than he let out previously. He's lightning fast, able to pull off huge combos and fly using his wings while throwing blades. The music that plays in this fight, titled Kuro Loses Faith, is an intense, fast-paced song. The thing I really love about his boss theme is the flute. The flute is Kuro's flute, an image I feel is very powerful. Upon his defeat, as a lot of characters, has a deep, heartfelt monologue. Kuro talks about the people he has met over his journeys, how they were all brave and noble and did the right things. They all believed in something, while Kuro didn't even believe in himself. Chibi, being the kind-hearted protagonist he is, forgives Kuro and allows him to live. Later on, once you defeat Kuro, you save Kuni and are ready to finish off Kuro. Kuro then appears and asks Kuro to use him as his vessel. Kuro possesses him and proceeds to re-engage Chibi. Suddenly, Kuro loses control of Kuro. Kuro manages to talk to them and reveals his true self. As it turns out, Kuro is a clone of Waka, whose body was designed to be a seal for Kuro. But he was afraid of his destiny and ran away, eventually siding with the person he was created to defeat. He was weak, but everything he has experienced, meeting Chibi, the crew of the Goryo, the scholar Susano, this changes his mind. He wants to do this, not because it's his destiny, because of everything he's seen and done, for the world itself. This is an amazing amount of character development and selflessness in a character, and makes huge amounts of respect and appreciation swell up in the player. Chibi reluctantly, alongside Kuni, unleash their power to deal the final blow to Kuro, but it's not Chibi that kills him. you, the player, have to deal the final blow and defeat a Kuro. Upon dealing the blow, the protagonists release one sorrowful tear as Kuro falls with a flurry of blossoms. My favorite character and boss in Okamiden, such a powerful personality and his actions have a real impact on the player. But we still have two more. This is a boss that is the whole reason this game and its events happened. This is a boss that has caused so much pain and suffering to the world of Nippon. This is a boss that draws everything down to the last detail from pure Shinto legend. You guessed it, the great Yamato no Orochi. Seriously, how many villains do you know that even after they're dead, they still have a huge influence on the game and its sequel? The whole concept, build-up, and fight of Orochi all have huge cinematic elements. 100 years ago, Amaterasu defeated Orochi with the help of Nagi and Seal no Moe until Nagi's descendant, Susanoo, removed the sword Yokogami from the Moon Shrine, freeing Orochi once again. History repeats itself as Susanoo's love interest, Kushi, is chosen as a sacrificial maiden to Orochi. Susanoo refuses to help, so Ami has to help Kushi. The whole charge to the Moon Cave is a huge, heart-pumping and cinematic scene, like something out of a movie. The music that plays, titled Kushi's Ride, is dramatic and exhilarating, getting you all pumped up for a huge brawl. As you reach Orochi's chamber, he makes his grand, dramatic appearance. After a long, heated discussion, the fight starts, but quickly you realize that Orochi cannot be damaged. Orochi makes his move to eat Kushi, and as he's about to clamp down, Susanoo makes his appearance. Orochi reveals that Susanoo made half a blood pact that would release Orochi's true power. As Orochi encourages him to complete the blood pact, the tension you can feel arising between the two, as well as Ami and Kushi, is slowly building and building. As a true hero would, Susanoo rejects the blood pact and breaks Orochi's barrier. At the same time, the thunder brew that Kushi brought with her transforms into the 8 purification sake, the brew that can intoxicate even Orochi. The fight is an intense duel of resilience, where you take down each of his heads and get all of them.
Beer! Drink beer!
This fight may seem a bit repetitive, but each of the heads have a specific type, and the battle arena constantly gets more frantic from falling fireballs, so the fight is kept interesting. As the fight ends, Susanoo raises his sword to the sky, as Amaterasu parts the clouds and summons the crescent moon. Susanoo's sword, Denkobaku, blazes gold and a flower grows on it. Susanoo draws his blade and...
Decapitation!
This fight has everything. Great music, cinematic elements, plenty of build-up, lots of action, amazing atmosphere, and religious symbolism. But what could possibly beat it? Before we reach number 1, let's recap. Number 19, Starfish Octopus Crossbeat. Number 18, Ice Dragon. Number 17, Crazy Bitch. Number 16, Sameness! 15, God that's hideous. Number 14, a f***ing cattle skeleton. 13, Prostitute Spider. 12, Sword Cubed. 11, Catfish. Half-Baked Prophet. 9, this guy kicks ass. Number 8, Theater Rocks. 7, Victorian Mechanical Owls. Number 6,
Volpe.
Number 5, Stereotypical Villain. 4, he's got a point, you know. Number 3, why did he have to die? And number 2,
Beer!
For my number 1, I've chosen the boss that I feel is the most impressive and intimidating in the entire Okami universe. A boss so powerful that Orochi, Ninetales, and Lechku and Nechku are just puppets to him. A boss so resilient that a Kuro was born from his remains. Someone whose influence is so strong, he is the sole reason there is evil in the world. That's right. My number 1 is the Emperor of Everlasting Darkness, Tokoyami no Sumeragi, or as he is most known as, the Dark Lord Yami. What? How could I put him any lower? He's basically the essence of all negativity in the world. He was even the final boss of Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Come on, do I need to go into any further detail? Well, screw you, I'm going in. His appearance is extremely unique. In all legends, the Dark Lord, unlike nearly everything else, is never depicted as a living thing. He's just too inorganic, so Clover Studios were very creative and made Yami a machine. When you reach him on the accursed Arc of Yamato, the Day of Darkness falls upon the world and a solar eclipse takes place. As this anomaly grips the world, Yami makes his appearance. Yami unleashes his power, and as most legends go, the hero, Amaterasu, is stripped of all her powers and left at the mercy of the Dark Lord. Yami then opens himself and shows his true form. That's another thing I love about this boss. Each of its forms have intense symbolism. His true form is a little fetal fish thing in a glass orb, sort of similar to Nurigami. This portrays the message that even the smallest and innocent of all creatures are capable of great evil, and also that all great evil starts off small. After killing Waka and returning into his shell, the fight finally starts. His first form is pretty slow but very powerful. Each of Yami's forms represents a human trait. This first form represents humans' desires to destroy, symbolizing this through smashing with hammers, chopping with saws, and shooting missiles at you. The system for beating him follows the whole way through. As you beat down Yami, you slowly regain your powers, which can be used to counteract Yami's powers. Once Yami is taking enough damage, he will transform into his second form. He attacks mainly using fire in various ways, symbolizing humans' desires to burn and incinerate. His third form is a giant slot machine, representing humans' desire to take risks. His attacks are solely determined on the outcome of the slot machine, which ranges from shooting fire, ice, lightning, and energy at you, revealing and stunning him, and replenishing your items. Yami's fourth, and my favorite form, is a giant two-legged walker, symbolizing humans' desires to use energy for selfish and destructive means. He is armed with lots of energy-based attacks, all of which can be very devastating. After laying the final blow, Yami falls and is still. Isun appears to congratulate you on winning and prompts you to do a victory howl. As Ami does her victory howl, Isun disappears and Yami grabs her. He unleashes his full power and doesn't just strip Ami of her powers, he destroys them. As Ami lies there dying, darkness fully engulfs the world while Yami transforms into his true form, a hand, the meaning that all evil comes from our own hands. As Yami is about to finally kill the Sun God, one of the most beautiful scenes in in all history plays out. As all these events play out, the people of the world are totally bewildered on what's happening. Isun finally accepts his destiny and becomes Ami's celestial envoy, a fate he had long run from. He brings the faith in the gods back into the people's hearts with his painting, and with their help, give Ami their prayers. With this new flood of power, the celestial brush gods are restored, and Ami reaches her full potential. With this, Ami exploits Yami's weakness to sunlight, and finally lays the smackdown on the Dark Lord. That's just it. That's why I hate the game industry. They focus too much on mindless, soulless FPS games, and too little on true works of art like Okami. I'm Speedster, and this is an amazing game, Josh Scorcher!
No! Not into the pit! It burns!